2.1.
Last summer, I went to Italy for a week. I've been to Italy as a tourist, but this time I was cycling. I prefer to ride in the countryside because it's much safer and the environment is better. The air is much cleaner and there are not as many cars. Every day I rode for many hours. At night I was tired because there were lots of hills. In the future, I'll go by bike through France. Maybe I'll do the Tour de France route.
1.2. 1.
Oh no! It's pouring with rain again. The children leave for school in 5 minutes.
2.
What a lovely day. I'm glad I told Derek I'd meet him at the park.
3.
I'm going to travel to Japan to attend a business conference next month.
4.
The family and I are going to the beach for the weekend. I'm really excited.
5.
John, where are you? I think Alan's broken his leg. It's important to get him to the hospital immediately.
1.3. 1.
For most of us in Vietnam, a motorbike is not just a vehicle, it's a way of life. In Ho Chi Minh City, I don't really walk anywhere. I always go by motorbike. They say there are 3 million motorbikes here. That's one for every 2 people. There are really so many. My bike is pretty small, 150cc, but it's really good for traveling around quickly. One problem is that the bikes are very noisy. People ride almost anywhere. Some people even ride their motorbikes into supermarkets. I've never done that because I think it's dangerous.
2.
The best way to travel long distances in Argentina is by bus. There aren't many trains that go far, so the bus is better. I've been all the way to Patagonia from Buenos Aires. That's a long journey. The buses are really comfortable because you can get a chair that's like a bed. I think you'll enjoy traveling like this. Oh, the food on the bus is great too.
3.
I prefer to travel by bike. I've ridden one since I was a kid. Here in Holland, there are a lot of cycle paths. People also ride on the pavements. Nobody really wears a helmet because there is no law about it. It's not really safe, but I've never had an accident. I ring my bell and people move out of the way.
1.4.
In your country, what transport changes have there been in the last few years? Have the changes been good or bad for your country? What's the best way to travel around your town? Do you ride a bicycle? Have you ever been on a plane? In the future, will you use a bicycle or a car more?
2.1.
I've watched a lot of series recently. I started when I was 10 because my parents didn't allow me to watch more than 2 hours of TV a day. Since January, I've watched lots of episodes of my favourite series. I usually watch them after school, either on TV or online. My brother prefers movies, but I find them too long sometimes. I've also listened to lots of music lately. I bought a couple of CDs I really like and keep listening to them. When I was younger, I read books all the time. I was fond of the Harry Potter series and couldn't put the books down, but I don't read as much nowadays.
2.2.
When I was younger, I got together with friends every day after school to watch DVDs. We really enjoyed it, but things have changed and now we just watch a lot of films online. It's much faster and cheaper. When I'm older, I think I'll enjoy going to the cinema instead, or at least that's what my parents do.
Let me think. I remember I loved watching TV series with my little brother, which I still do. When I'm older, who knows? I'd like to relax by reading a good book.
When I was a child, I watched cartoons every day, but now I like comedies and action films. I think I will enjoy the same kinds of films when I grow older. I don't think my preferences will change.
2.3.
What kind of music do I listen to? I listen to all kinds of music. The type I listen to depends on the mood I'm in. At night time, I often want to relax, so I listen to classical music. I find the sound of violins very relaxing. But I like listening to something faster and more upbeat when I'm exercising. This helps me to go on.
My favourite type of music is jazz. I love everything about jazz. It just makes me feel good. I adore the sound of saxophones and pianos because they can be smooth and lively at the same time.
I usually prefer pop music and catchy songs. It's because I love dancing to music, but I prefer lively music. I find classical music and other types boring.
2.4.
Do you play any musical instruments? How many hours a day do you watch TV? Have you been to the cinema lately? Have you seen any good films recently? Have you ever downloaded a film? Have you ever been to a concert?
3.1.
My parents took us on holiday to Brazil last February because they wanted us to experience the magic of Rio's carnival. The costumes and carriages are really impressive and, of course, expensive. I couldn't believe my eyes as I saw hundreds and hundreds of people dancing in the Sambodromo. The music is great too, really catchy. You can't help dancing. The parades last for hours, so people don't get much sleep.
The most impressive festival I've heard of is La Tomatina, which takes place every year in Valencia, Spain. Like many festivals around the world, La Tomatina involves food. The difference is that people don't eat it, they throw it. La Tomatina takes place on the last Wednesday in August, right in the middle of the summer. People get together in the Plaza del Pueblo and try to knock down a ham hanging from a pole. I saw it on TV and thought it was funny. When someone knocks the ham from the pole, the real frenzy begins. Trucks bring a lot of tomatoes into the square. People rush to the tomatoes, crush them in their hands, and throw them at each other. This tomato fight lasts for an hour. Afterwards, fire engines come and clean up all the tomato juice.
The Cheese Rolling Festival is on the last Monday of May. It takes place on Cooper's Hill, near the small village of Brockworth, England. people roll a large wheel of Gloucester cheese down Cooper's Hill. The festival is actually a race because competitors run down the hill after the rolling cheese. The first person to cross the finish line at the bottom of the hill wins the cheese. The event has happened every year for over 200 years, and it can be dangerous. The rolling cheese can reach nearly 70 miles per hour. Because of this, the local council has tried to ban it.
3.2.
The most impressive festival I've been to is the Kite Festival in San Miniato, Italy. In Italian, it's called Festa degli Aquiloni. This festival takes place on the first Sunday after Easter each year, and it has been held since 1968. That is, for more than 40 years now. Dozens of kites fly into the air from the front lawn of the Torre di Federico II. The kites follow an old Tuscan tradition, and on this occasion, children ask their parents to build the kites by hand, which can be quite difficult and can take a long time. Unsurprisingly, a lot of parents would rather buy a kite. Of course, there are prizes for the best kites. The homemade kites, not the ones people buy. In the afternoon, the traditional flight of the hot air balloons takes place, and 3 hot air balloons fly into the air from Piazza del Duomo, full of children's messages and poems of peace, which people later throw to the wind, in the hope that they will fly around the world carrying their messages of color and peace. I've never seen anything as beautiful as that in my life. I hope I can take my own children to see it one day.
3.3.
I've just returned from the best party I've been to for a long time. It was my best friend's birthday party. She wanted to celebrate it at an expensive place in town, but her parents couldn't afford it. In the end, we went to her grandmother's house. Her sister prepared the food and drinks because she's a chef in a local restaurant. Sophie asked her to make simple food that would be easy to eat, such as mini pizzas, Mexican tacos, sandwiches and crisps. And for dessert, she made the best chocolate cake I've ever had. We're big fans of pop music, so we listened to all of our favourite songs. We also listened to other types of music, such as hip-hop and rock, because some of our friends prefer that.
3.4. 1.
We've just moved into our new home. It's great. I can't believe we've got our own place at last. It's really exciting, and we're going to have a housewarming party on Friday. I hope everyone can come.
2.
We've been together since university, so of course I said yes. Our wedding today has been the best day of my life. We're going to Greece for our honeymoon. I can't wait.
3.
I've just graduated and am ready to start working. Now that I've finished my studies, I hope to get a good job that pays well.
4.
We're tired, but really happy at the arrival of our first baby. So we think we'll have a little party with some of our relatives and closest friends next weekend.
3.5.
Have you ever been to a festival? What makes your birthday special? Tell me about a party you enjoyed. Tell me about a festival you celebrate in your country every year. Do you prefer big or small parties? How will you celebrate your birthday next year?
4.1 1.
Well, 3 days ago, I got some really good news. I passed! I was quite surprised, because I've driven a lot with my dad and studied about road signs and speed limits, but I found it hard to concentrate on everything at once. I haven't driven on my own yet, because I'm still a little nervous. I prefer to have somebody in the car with me. Not many of my friends drive, so I think I'll become very popular when people want to lift home.
2.
I've played since I was very young, but this time was different. I never imagined playing in front of so many people. To be honest, I'd rather just play on my own, at home. Anyway, the concert was successful. Lots of relatives came to see me. Next month, I'll be in another concert at school. This time, I'm playing folk music instead of classical. I prefer playing that. My cousin Lily is going to come and see me. That'll be great. I haven't seen her since last Christmas.
3.
I've always wanted to have a pet, but we haven't got much room in our apartment. I was really surprised when I saw what Mum and Dad bought me, because when I asked before, they said no. I think I'll call her Smudge. She's great. Actually, I prefer dogs, but I won't be able to have one until I'm older.
4.
I've worked really hard this year and studied lots in the evenings and at weekends. A lot of people that I know sat the exam, but only I passed it. I think that's because I worked hard. I'll try the next grade sometime in the future, because passing the exams helps you when you want to go to university. I've decided that I want to study in the UK or America.
5.
I've played really well this season. I haven't scored many goals though, because I'm usually in defense. 2 days ago, the coach asked me to play as a striker in the second half. I've never liked playing there, so I was surprised. Perhaps I was lucky, but I scored 3. That's a lot of goals in one game. I'll probably play up front again next week, but I'd rather be a defender, because that's my best position.
4.2
So, you take lots of photos. Tell me about it.
I've had a camera since I was about 10. My first camera was a little digital one, and I liked taking pictures of friends and family and a lot of things around my house. But when I was 12, my uncle gave me his old camera that uses film, an SLR. I prefer that kind of camera.
Why do you prefer it?
I'd rather take photos with an SLR because it makes me think more about what photos I want to take. With a digital camera, you can take lots of photos and choose the best. But with an SLR, I think you are more creative. It's better because it's more like art.
Do you think you'll ever take photos as a job, become a photographer?
Yes, I'll definitely do this in the future. I've just won a photography competition in a local newspaper. 2 days ago, I met the photographers who work there, and they showed me how to take photographs like them. I'll do something like that when I'm older. It was really exciting. I never thought I'd win, but my brother said my photo was really good.
What did you take a photograph of?
It was a nature photograph. I haven't taken many of those before because they're difficult to do well, but I'll take more in the future with my new camera.
How long have you had your new camera?
I've had it since last week. It was part of the prize, and I've just started using it. There are lots of instructions, and it will take a long time to learn about it. I think I'd rather use my old SLR until I'm more confident.
4.3.
Tell me about some of the best birthdays you've had. Tell me about the best presents you've received. Have you ever been abroad? Tell me about it. What experience has made you happiest? Have you ever done anything that made you sad? What do you think you'll do in the future? Tell me about your plans.
5.1.
So, let's talk a bit about the exam. Do you think you're ready for it?
Well, I'm sure I'll be nervous, but I've worked hard recently.
Do you need to discuss any of the exam details?
Could we talk a bit more about the topic phase? Because I think that will be the hardest part for me.
Okay. Well, you know that in the topic phase, you get a chance to show how much English you understand by discussing your prepared topic with the examiner. The examiner asks you questions. Give full answers, not just 1 or 2 words.
And for grade 5, I talk about 5 discussion points, right?
Well, you prepare 5 discussion points, and the examiner will ask you to talk about at least 4 of them. Remember, it's an informal discussion rather than a presentation, so speak in a natural way. The examiner will look at your topic form and ask for more information, facts, or details to keep the conversation going.
I'm glad it's informal. I prefer just chatting about things. I get really nervous when I have to do presentations.
I think you'll be fine.
And it's important to ask the examiner at least 1 question. I've heard that a lot of people forget to do that. They're so busy thinking about what they're saying.
Yes, so during the exam, just relax and try to use a good range of grade 5 language.
5.2. 1.
I prefer this to any other phone I've had because it can do so much. You can use the iPhone for downloading and playing music and movies, as well as making calls. Actually, since I got it last month, I've mostly used it for listening to music. I prefer to send texts than phone people, so I don't really use it like a phone at all. Lots of people have this kind of phone now. I think they'll be even more popular in the future, especially when they get cheaper.
2.
I've been a scout for about 5 years now, ever since I went to an event with my big brother. Next year, I'll attend the International Scouting Movement Jamboree. It will be in Sweden. I enjoy being a scout because I get to do lots of really interesting things. 3 weeks ago, I went camping in one of the national parks with my scout group. While we were there, I started building a campsite. It will take a long time to complete. Maybe 6 months or more. There are almost 3 million scouts in India. That's a lot of people. I've really enjoyed meeting scouts from all over the country. And soon I'll meet scouts from all over the world. It's very exciting.
3.
I started playing tennis nearly 5 years ago. I've always liked sports, but tennis is my favorite because you need a lot of skill and intelligence to play it well. I've just played in my first competition. There were loads of other players from around the country. My final game lasted a long time, nearly 3 hours. I didn't play so well this time, but I'll definitely enter more competitions in the future. I've never really thought about becoming a professional tennis player because you have to train so hard to be successful. I think I'd rather play in tournaments for fun. There's less pressure that way.
4.
I've been a fan of Rihanna since I first heard SOS about 6 years ago. I prefer her music to other singers because she has more attitude and is more natural. A lot of my friends like Rihanna's music too. Next year, I'll probably go to see her in concert. She has come to Shanghai a few times in the last few years. I've been to a few concerts, but hers will definitely be the best.
5.
Lots of people like to go to the beach on holiday, but I prefer cities. I visited most of the capital cities in Europe. My favourite city is Edinburgh in Scotland. I like Edinburgh so much because there are many interesting things to do there. There are lots of art galleries and places for concerts. There are so many cultural events. Next year, I'll probably travel there with some friends. We're planning to perform at the Edinburgh Festival. I've done a little bit of acting before, but nothing as important. I think it will be great fun.
5.3. 1.
So, tell me why you prefer your tablet to a laptop.
Well, the tablet has a better touchscreen interface. And the Safari browser is good for surfing the internet. The memory storage is okay too. I've got 1 gigabyte of storage on a micro SD and 4 gigabytes on the external card.
Why is that good?
It's, the memory is... Having low internal memory and high external memory helps the system operate well. So, that's good, I think.
2.
So, which do you like best, the books or the films?
Well, I'd rather watch the films because I think they are more exciting, you know? With things happening more quickly than the books. I've read maybe 2 or 3 of the books, but they haven't impressed me as much as the films. Lots of people think that Daniel Radcliffe isn't such a good actor, but I think that he's improved a lot through the series. I just watched part 2 of The Deathly Hallows in English. I often needed to stop it when I didn't understand something, but that's okay. I think I'll watch more English movies in the future.
5.4.
So, tell me about where you'll travel in the future.
Next year, I think I'm going to travel to America. I've never been there, but I've always wanted to visit. I think America is better than other countries. I like America more than I like Europe. I'm always watching programs on TV about America, and it looks really good. Have you ever been to America?
Yes, I have. I went there last year. Okay, tell me about this one. Travel broadens the mind. What does that mean?
Some people say when you travel, you learn new things. I can agree with that. A little people don't learn anything when they travel. Last year, I went to Italy. I went there the year before too. I learnt about Italian food. It's good. And Italian people are very friendly. I like Rome. I didn't like Milan much.
Tell me about this one. Holidays are sometimes stressful.
For 2 years, my parents and I went on holiday together. Every day we did what they wanted. It wasn't so good. They like museums and art galleries. I like shopping and football. I went to a football game in Rome. Sometimes, my parents and I argue about what to do. That's stressful. After this, I'm not going on holiday with them again.
5.5. Means of transport. 1,
Have you ever travelled by plane?
2,
Will you travel by train this week?
3,
Why do you think some people prefer travelling by car rather than taking a bus?
4,
Do you enjoy riding a bicycle?
5,
Do many people use public transport in your country?
6,
Tell me about the last time you took a taxi.
7,
Have you ever been on a boat?
8,
How do you go to school every day?
5.6. Entertainment. 1,
About how many hours of TV do you watch a day?
2,
Do you prefer going to the cinema or watching a DVD at home? Why?
3,
Do you think you will go to the cinema this weekend?
4,
What kind of films do you enjoy watching? Why?
5,
Why do you like that kind of film?
6,
Tell me what you do for entertainment. Do you watch TV? What's your favourite programme?
7,
What's the best film you've ever seen?
8,
Tell me about your favourite actor or actress.
9,
Do you think people will go to the cinema in the future?
10,
What other forms of entertainment do you enjoy?
5.7. Special occasions. 1,
How do you like to celebrate your birthday?
2,
Do you prefer big or small parties? Why?
3,
What's the best present you've received?
4,
Do you remember your birthday last year?
5,
Will you have a party this year?
6,
Tell me about a special birthday party you remember. What made it special?
7,
How do people generally celebrate birthdays in your country?
8,
Tell me about the last birthday present you bought. Where did you buy it? How much was it?
9,
Do you prefer to celebrate with family or friends? Why?
5.8. Music. 1,
Do you like listening to music?
2,
Do you prefer rock or pop music? Why?
3,
Why do you think some people prefer listening to live music?
4.
Have you ever been to a concert? Did you enjoy it?
5.
Will you buy any CDs this month?
6.
Do you play any musical instruments?
7.
Have you ever had lessons?
8.
Do you have a favourite band?
9.
What makes that band special?
10.
Tell me about your favourite song. Why do you like it so much?
5.9. Festivals. 1.
Which festival do you find the most interesting? Why?
2.
Have you ever been to a popular festival?
3.
When was it?
4.
Can you describe it to me? What was it about?
5.
Are there any popular festivals in your country?
6.
How many festivals from around the world do you know?
7.
What's the strangest festival you've heard of? Why is it strange?
8.
Do you think you will go to a festival in the future? Why?
9.
What's the most popular festival in the world?
10.
Tell me about a festival you like. What do you like about it?
5.10. New experiences. 1.
Tell me about a recent personal experience. Why was it important to you?
2.
Have you started any hobbies lately?
3.
When did you first do it?
4.
Why did you decide to try it?
5.
Have you learned anything new recently?
6.
What was it?
7.
Where did you learn it?
8.
Tell me about a friend you met recently. How did you meet?